Hi, and welcome back to the Adored Woman podcast. It's Naomie Thompson here, your host. Today's episode comes from an interview I did with Tamra from Straight from the Source's Mouth podcast. In this episode, we'll be talking about dating in midlife, dating over 40. But in fact, what we share with you will be useful to you whether you're dating or even in a relationship at any point in your life. Before we jump into the episode, please do hit follow and follow this podcast. It lets the platforms know that you really want to hear what I've got to say, and more people will find this podcast.
Hello, everyone. Tamra here. Welcome to the show. Today's guest is Naomie Thompson, and we'll be talking about dating over 40. Thanks for joining me.
My pleasure, Tamra. My pleasure. It's something I love to speak about because I was dating over 40 after my divorce. And I remember the hopeless feelings. I remember the struggles. I remember all my old insecurities flooding back. And also, I noticed that I was still drawn to the same kind of guys, and I had to change that. And I'm in a wonderful relationship now with a guy who's very different from any guy I've ever dated and had a relationship with before. So I know it's possible, but I really get the challenges.
We talked a little bit before where I'm in a Facebook group with over 50 daters, and a lot of them are struggling. And I say it's because of, like you kind of said, the previous baggage and all the stuff they used to think about dating or themselves, or worry that the other person basically not being vulnerable enough to let the other person into. So let's just get started with some of the issues women have or people have with dating over 50, over 40.
Unless we've been widowed, unless we were in a great relationship and we lost our partner suddenly, then really putting that situation aside, generally there is a reason why we are in midlife and we are single and that love doesn't seem to be working out. And that reason isn't that there's anything wrong with you or that you're doing anything wrong. It isn't that you are wrong in some way. There will be a very good reason why, and that is usually because in our early life, there will have been habits and patterns of behavior, probably to protect us from feelings and situations when we were very young, habits and patterns that we got into that meant we kind of closed up our heart. Really deep connected love comes from an emotional connection. To have an emotional connection with someone, we need certain levels of vulnerability. And if when we are young, for whatever reason, being vulnerable didn't feel safe, it's going to be very, very hard to open our hearts to the kind of vulnerability that's needed to have that wonderful, connected relationship where we feel seen and cherished and loved. So what will happen if our heart is closed? It's like, so I've just got both my hands up here for anyone who's hearing this but not seeing it. It's like we're choosing someone who has the same, unconsciously, we choose someone who has the same tolerance for intimacy that we do. So if, for example, I've got a number 6 tolerance of intimacy, I will choose someone who's got a number 6 tolerance for intimacy. Because if I'm going to choose someone who's got a number 10 tolerance for intimacy, they're going to want to come a lot closer to me than my intimacy tolerance can handle at that point in my life. So I will feel safer choosing someone who has the same or a lower tolerance for intimacy.
Yeah.
But it's all unconscious. And that's why we often feel drawn to the same kind of people. They may look different, they may present differently, but we always end up with the same kind of complaints. I don't feel quite loved. He can't commit. He's not affectionate. So the situation I always found myself in is I always went for men who would pull away a certain amount, never quite gave me the love I wanted, and were never verbally affectionate. But some of your listeners might also relate to, in the younger years, teenage years, early 20s, all the guys who were very loving, who really wanted to give that adoration and cherishing and love. They kind of felt like they were too nice.
Yeah.
Like, to me, it was like, oh no, they're too nice. And we will want to pull away from, no, they're more like friends. Whereas actually, they're the kind of great guys to have relationships with,
Yeah.
So coming back to the beginning of what I was saying, that inner protector that protects us from being vulnerable, that inner protector is one of the hugest stumbling blocks for people in midlife. We think we know our type. But if you are in midlife and you're single and you are dating and you're struggling with love, I want everyone to take on the idea you don't know your type. If you knew that type, you'd be with them in a sweet, loving, beautiful marriage by now.
Yeah.
living your life together. We need to relearn that and relearn how to be turned on by, instead of being turned on by some people who are hot and cold or unavailable or unloving, we get activated and it's part of us gets turned on by that. We actually want to relearn what we get drawn to,
Yeah.
and that will change everything.
Yeah, and I talk a lot about attachment styles and in this group. And unfortunately, like a lot of people are online dating, the avoidance are full force because they're the ones that break up constantly and are single often. And then the anxious type who really want a relationship generally end up, it's kind of push pull thing. And I do want to say back to the too nice thing. I read a long time ago, askmen.com, and they said women want a challenge. We would prefer a positive challenge, which is like the unicorn guy that everyone would love. But because there aren't that many of them, when we have to choose between a negative challenge and too nice, we're going to go for the negative challenge or the jerks or the assholes just because we want a little bit of a challenge. Like you're saying, we're used to that kind of challenge and we think that's what we want, but that's part of the pattern we need to break.
Absolutely. And I'd say with these unicorn guys, there is more of them than we would believe. There
Yeah.
are more of them, but our radar is like we're a heat seeking missile. Our radar is for the old familiar
Yeah.
pattern. My dad was very avoidant, very unavailable. So that's what I would seek deep inside. For me, that equated love. I mean, we're diving sort of deeper into this,
Yeah.
but actually, one of the very clear steps I take my women through in my mentorship is understand your patterns, understand what is going on for you, because awareness is key. When you know what's going on inside of you, when you understand your reactions, when you understand your resistance, then you have a choice. It's not running you.
Do you have an opinion about where you should get advice from? I've had a previous coach that's like, you don't want to listen to the single people necessarily. What kind of advice do you say people should and shouldn't take?
Often our friends mean well. They have our best interests at heart, but we got to look at the perspective of the person who you're getting advice from. If there is a couple, they've had a long relationship, you can tell that they're very connected, very kind to each other. They're very considerate. He's very attentive to her. She's appreciative and warm to him. And they have this lovely relationship. They are going to be amazing people to speak to about relationships. But your friend who's been forever single is just not going to be the person, because he or she may have the perspective, relationships are dangerous, don't go near it, you're better off single. And they're going to want to talk you out of being in any relationship. And also choosing professionals who you can connect with in terms of what they've been through and their journey and their path and the results they have in their life.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, and from that group, there was one woman, she's, 60 and trying to date, and she's like, "Is there hope?" Or what would you say to people either newly dating, like, straight out of divorce, or after some time to reflect and learn about themselves once they get out there? How would you say to approach dating initially?
Well, first off, I would say really own up to your desire. Own up to what you want. So many women, I mean, I work primarily with women. So many people dumb down their desire because they'll feel somehow that maybe I need to settle for less. And actually owning up to your desire and finding out, what is it I really want? Not what is it that my parents wanted for me, not is it that my friends want for me, that society says I should have, but actually, what is it I really want? How do I want to feel in my relationship? Do I want someone to travel the world with? Do I want to be married? Do I want a weekend boyfriend and be free the rest of the week? And most importantly, how do I want to feel in that relationship? Quite often people, and I'd say one of the biggest mistakes people make with dating is looking for sparky chemistry straight away. They'll go for chemistry. And both you and I all know often that chemistry is just our old patterns, our nervous system getting activated by our old patterns and the familiar. And actually, that kind of raw, excitable chemistry is a terrible indicator of whether someone's a great partner. But we're trained by movies and Disney and so on that this is what needs to happen when we
Yeah.
first meet someone. So owning up to your own desire makes the whole dating process about you and what you're looking for, rather than about getting that hot guy to like you. or trying to make it work with someone. And I would say that is one of the most important thing I bring my ladies back to all the time. Come back to you. What is it you really want? And actually owning up to it. Because I remember feeling like I'm not that kind of girl that gets the cherishing and the love and the romance and the flowers and the all of that. Part of me felt like that was for other people. And when you own up to your desire, really own up to it, you go, I really want that. I really want to be romanced and cherished and loved and cuddled every day and told that I'm loved every day. And when we own up for that, what we look for on our radar starts to change.
Yeah, and the kind of list you're describing is not like attributes like physical stuff, it's more how you want to feel in a relationship. Do you think people should kind of write out what they want?
Yeah. A great process someone can do, I give this as a worksheet. A great process people can do is to get a page and put 4 columns. And in the first column, you just bring to mind your exes, even just see them right in front of you. And as you look at them, you just notice, what did I learn from them that I really, really don't want? Like, I don't want to be belittled. I don't want to feel lonely because my partner's working all the time. I don't want to be talked down to. I don't want whatever it is that relationship brought that you don't want. Because for me, a really incredible way, a very powerful way of knowing what you do want is to start off by knowing what you don't want. Then in the next column, you go, how did that make me feel? I don't want to be in a relationship with someone who doesn't hold my hand when we're out. How did that make me feel? That made me feel lonely, made me feel sad, made me feel small. We only want to kind of nod to the past. We don't want to dwell there too long. And then we go to the next column where we flip those don't wants into wants. So if I don't want to feel sad and lonely, and I don't want a partner who can't hold my hand and be affectionate, let's flip it to what you do want in column 3. What do I want? I want someone who's going to be affectionate. I want to hold the hand of my partner every time we go out and to feel his strong hand in mine. Then in the 4th column, and I hope this is helpful for people, this process,
For
in the
sure.
4th column is, how would being in that relationship with the man who's holding my hand, being loving and affectionate, holding me close on a cold, windy day, how would that make me feel right now as if that was happening now? It makes me feel warm, like my heart feels bigger. I feel safe. I feel soft. Then that's what we put in that 4th column. Then what happens, we can say, okay, if we were to look at column 3 and 4, what are the qualities of a partner who does everything in column 3? And those qualities become kindness, considerate, willing to communicate, loving, affectionate, open. So suddenly our list of qualities becomes so much more discerning because it comes from the deeper need that we have. Then in column 4, this is the real desire vision, is I feel warm, I feel safe, my heart feels open. And if you notice in columns 3 and 4, there is nothing about his height, his financial status, his education. Now, yes, if you're an intelligent person, you're going to want a partner who has some intelligence. However, what we're looking for now, if we look at column 4, I want to feel safe in a relationship. If you meet someone who's got a huge amount of debt that isn't just their mortgage, you're not going to feel safe.
Yeah.
So it comes back to that feeling. And, if any of your listeners, want that worksheet, I'm happy to share it with you and just contact me. But that's how we can really go into our desire vision and own up to our desire without all the muddle of, I really want a guy who's taller than me. I really want a guy who's university educated. None of those are indicators of great partners.
Yeah, like on paper, they might look like your type, like you said earlier. Doesn't mean your type is the right type, but yeah. And so and I would imagine when you're going on like a first date and you want to see how you feel in column 4 on each date versus like how would you start, like when you arrive at a date, like what would you say is the best way to approach it and know and look for, like assessing? compatibility or not, or
Yeah, well, I would say we got to take the pressure off ourselves with dates. And if we can have the approach and mindset, then rather than looking to see if this person could potentially be my partner for life, is I'm just showing up curious about the person in front of me and how they make me feel. And the only thing I have to decide is, do I want a second date? As soon as I say that, that just makes me feel light. It makes me feel like, okay, there's no pressure. Otherwise, we can be on a roller coaster of hope and disappointment, hope and disappointment. And if that happens too much, we'll just want to give up. Whereas if we just go with curiosity and openness for the human being in front of me, and knowing that what we're doing when you're dating at this point in your life is you are getting curious about yourself and your old patterns and being open to creating new patterns and being attracted to people maybe you're not instantly attracted to, but letting the attraction grow, letting the chemistry grow. So even if there isn't chemistry straight away, if someone's a great person, seems very loving, solid, kind, consistent, warm, just saying, hey, I'm curious. I'd like to meet them again.
yeah. And I've heard before that you should go after the ones that actually like you, like the ones that show the most interest. Like some people just, they want that challenge and go after the ones that don't show any interest or very little interest. I'm assuming where you are on that side, but can you talk to that?
Oh my goodness, yes. And first of all, again, in the whole spirit of awareness and understanding your patterns, if you are dating and there's someone who's showing little interest in you, they're not messaging back. I'm very much of the school of thinking of polarity. I think when a man leads the dating process and a woman is open and warm and appreciative and will follow his lead, you have a very, very happy, satisfactory dating process there. Um, but when you find yourself being drawn towards people who are more avoidant, they're not coming towards you, they're not showing you they're into you, it's to notice that pattern inside of you. Like bring it into your consciousness and go, my goodness, almost as if I say to my girls, I just say, be aware of it as if you were going to write an essay on it, as if you were studying for a science project. Oh my gosh, what is it that happens inside of me when there is somebody not giving me what I really want? Oh my gosh, I feel like I just want to hunt them down. I feel like I just want to say, don't forget me, I exist. I feel like I want to chase them. Then what's important there is to have tools to do the opposite, is to actually have a pattern interrupt where you break that pattern and start to do something different.
Yeah. So you show up and you just are warm and inviting. And how do men respond to that? Like in your experience, that is pretty much the ideal, I would assume. Have you heard or believe that men can sense, like when you have underlying beliefs about dating, or they can tell you're nervous and or don't like men or don't like to date or hate it or whatever those thoughts are?
It's okay to be nervous. Let's just normalize that. We get nervous. But that's just very human and that's very vulnerable and real. So he'll be nervous and you will be nervous. What a guy will pick up on is the vibe you radiate. Now, we radiate a vibe, whatever's going on, whether our heart is closed up, whether we're angry at men, whether we are totally open and warm and curious. Even if we do nothing, we're radiating a vibe. We're radiating energy, and other people pick up on that energy. It's not just woo-woo stuff. This is just, we can feel it. We can feel what's going on inside someone else, even if we don't know what it is. We know that there's something, especially anger. When we are really angry still and feeling resentful towards an ex, that can absolutely come across. And I would say learning how to process that anger is really important. We don't want to stuff any feeling down because it will always come up again, but we want to learn how to process that anger. I would say, and as well as especially women, often we feel like we can't stand a gap in the conversation when we're dating. So you're opposite a guy, you might be feeling really nervous, and there's a gap in the conversation because he'll be nervous too. You want to meet men who are clueless at dating because the ones who are really good at it may have been dating a lot or, they're really smooth. It's okay if a guy's clunky. He'll be nervous too. Your temptation might be to jump in and lead the conversation. So I would just say allow yourself to be comfortable with some silence. And instead of jumping in straight away and running away with chattering the way through the whole date, is to just take a gap, interrupt that pattern, Just feel that urge in your body to want to jump in and practice listening. It's very, very rare for a woman to show up on a date and actually really listen to a guy. Women are used to being there, talking, conversing, listening a lot to each other. Guys don't often get someone really listening without interrupting, listening without giving opinion. And it's actually incredible. It's incredible for you to really hear what that person's saying, because when a person is talking, they are showing you who they are. They're sharing a lot of information about themselves. For example, I was talking to a guy and I just let him talk. And as he was talking, what I realized and heard about him was that his default when a relationship isn't good is to find someone else very quickly. That he overpromises. For example, he was telling me where he lived, and it was a very big triangle between where he lives and where his children live. And, oh, no, I'll make it work. I'll be able to come and see you 3 times a week. He over-delivered. I learned all of this just by letting him speak. And of course, there's times to respond and ask questions. But I think as a woman, just notice, see how much you can just listen to the man in front of you and hear what he's saying and let him lead the conversation in the main.
Yeah. And then from there, decide how you feel if you want a second one, or do you recommend going on more than one unless there's something like terrible?
Yeah. If somebody shows up as just being a really decent human, absolutely meet them again. We've got to normalize the idea that chemistry can grow. It doesn't always, because because not everybody's compatible. However, if we're not used to having a really attentive, loving, committed partner in our life, and there's someone very attentive and very committed sat in front of us, yes, I would want a woman to meet him again. Meet him again and be open and be curious and just see what can happen, because so many of my clients have wanted to give up on the partner that they're with now. And they'll be like, Naomie, I think I'm just going to let him go and not date him anymore. And I just say, one more date and just see. And as the chemistry grows, everything changes and they're suddenly in a completely different relationship than they've ever had.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right. Well, I wanted to give you some time to let people know how to reach you and any programs you have as well. So it seems like a good spot to mention that.
Yeah, absolutely. I specialize in working with women over 40, dating after divorce or dating after significant breakups. A lot of women who come to me are feeling hopeless about love, hopeless about dating, ready to give up. They want a relationship that's unlike any that they've had before. They don't want the old pattern, but they're really struggling to meet a partner who they really feel safe and loved by. And yes, I have a program that I take women through. I work one-to-one, and I also have a group program that is so supportive and loving. It just is fantastic. So yes, if anyone out there is feeling that way and would really like that kind of regular support and cheerleading, and what I really work with, I know that so many of us in midlife can actually feel terrified by dating and love. It can feel so painful. And I feel like we've got a comfort zone and we've got a discomfort, fear, terror zone. And I think we believe there's only those 2 places. Like, I'm either just going to carry on the way I am, or it's going to be absolutely terrifying and I'm going to get my heart broken. I work in a zone in the middle I call the stretch zone. And I will always want to stretch you out of the comfort zone to try new things, because retraining your brain and your nervous system takes baby step, repetitive practice of tools, practice of process. And I'm kind of gentle, tough loving. So if people want that, if they want that stretch, and if they really want to learn something new, then absolutely, I'd love to hear from you. It's naomiethompson.com. You can find me, Naomie Thompson. And yes, I'm on YouTube and Instagram.
Okay. Yeah, I'll add it to the description and you can say it now too if you want, or.
Yes, literally naomiethompson.com, naomiethompson.com.
Okay. Well, and is there any final comments?
I would say one of my final comments is a mindset. Our love attraction mindset is really, really important. And again, that takes time to change and shift, to get out of the old groove. If anybody notices that feeling of envy, jealousy, or hopelessness when they see other people in the kind of relationships they really want. What I would want you to do is to do the envy flip and just flip that to gratitude. And I know some people go, oh no, gratitude, you're going to make me write things down every day about gratitude. And I'm saying, no, just say it out loud. Just say, thank you for showing me this great relationship. Thank you for showing me that this great relationship exists. And if it exists, I can have it too. If she can have it, I can have it. These kind of mindsets keep you going. And one of the biggest things that will champion and cheerlead you on is how to keep going in a way that you will feel empowered and not traumatized. So that mindset, if she can have it, so can I. If he can have it, so can I. If God, life, the universe, whatever we want to call it, has put this person, this friend in front of me who's engaged, this amazing relationship on Instagram that I see, if they've put that in front of me, it's a sign that it exists and I can have it. If they can have it, so can I. So that's what I'd just love to leave you all with.
Yeah, yeah, that's a perfect ending. Get the hope back in there and the other
Yes.
mindset. And actually, something like that worked for me. I was on a bus and I saw all these couples, and I'm like, I want that. And after I got off the bus, got to where I was going, I met a guy and we dated for a year. So I just remember thinking, I really want that, and then it happened. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's definitely possible. All right, well, thank you very much, Naomie Thompson. Reach out to her for one-on-one coaching, and thank you again, Naomi.
I hope you loved this episode. It's really great to have you back. And if you have any more questions about dating, dating in midlife, dating at any age, please pop them in the comments section below. I will read all of your comments on these episodes. And get the free training, The 9 Aspects of the Adored Woman. And I will see you in the next episode.